Appreciate you guys being here. I know it's a little bit of a longer day for you guys with us having the night practice, but this is very, very important tonight, something we're really excited about. My first exposure to it last year was, I was shocked by just not only the turnout, but the energy and the environment that we can create for a training camp practice. So very, very excited to see a packed stadium over there and have another very, very important padded practice. It's been you guys have been here throughout the week. We've been, it's been physical. We've been competing. We backed it down yesterday with an emphasis on getting the most out of tonight for our football team. So guys are off to a really good start. Understanding the intent of how this schedule and this plan's been built. Just got to keep that going. I know Wes was able to update you guys on the good news regarding Tristan. Something that we're hopefully, going to allow him to work through kind of some soreness in there. But structurally, we feel really good about what the scan came back with. Jalen Naylor's still on his program and continue to work himself back. And as we move forward, there'll be a couple players that are still kind of in the process of Tyler working through and Uriah, their availability for tonight. So I don't want to comment really on anybody else as of right now, but appreciate you guys on that one. Go ahead. Yeah, he's more than likely probably not going to go, but didn't want to use that, make sure he's seen the folks he needs to see and work through that whole thing. But we'll err on the side of caution, but we'll see as far as what he's able to do. As we have individual periods, we have different things, but you guys will be able to keep tabs on that one.
Benchmarks as to where you are in camp. This is your second run here. Like, you want to be at this point. I mean, are you ahead? Where are you at in the process?
Yeah, I think it's hard right now just because we do have a new scheme defensively, and that not only requires our guys on that side to be dialed into the installs and the execution, improvement day to day, adding more things, but also us offensively versus some of the different looks that we're seeing and working through. You want to install your offense as is. We felt good about our install plan a year ago. We are, under a little bit more duress throughout, certain, downs and distances and phases of our offense, which I think is fantastic for our team. We're having some growth and some conversations, quite honestly, football 501 that sometimes you don't get to have until, week 8, week 9, week 10, and the time is so crunched. So to have all of these conversations now with the extra time and the experience of year one in the system for a lot of guys has been really beneficial. But overall, just as a team, I think we're ahead probably where I thought we would be. And that's a credit really to Flo and his defensive staff and our guys on that side of the ball, showing really that the production that you can have when you handle the spring the way we do, challenge these guys above the neck, give them a chance to compete, but also want them to come back ready to roll both mentally and physically for camp, and it's paid off early on. Now really, the second week, kind of heading in before you truly dial into that first preseason game, this is really what's left of the traditional grind of camp, and I say that with the players having a walk/jog through yesterday and a day off tomorrow. So take that for what you will, but I feel like we're really, really in a good spot right now.
That said, though, you mentioned a few times the physicality of camp, and assuming you came in, or did you come into this wanting to have a more physical camp than maybe last year or whatever, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think I just knew schematically the types of things that would inevitably run into each other pretty early on in camp. I preferred that it would be in pads, and I knew that those things would require physicality to execute on both sides. So I tried to challenge our team when we left the off-season program and prepare them mentally for what training camp will be. Not only that, Kevin, but the change in schedule. Last year we played a Sunday preseason one, and this year we're playing a West Coast Thursday night preseason one. So essentially lose 3 days of kind of that early camp feel that you can have. So I had to tell them, and as you guys know, there's really no secrets here. I emphasized to those guys why and how it had to be different. Told them the reasons behind it, but then, hey, I need you guys to meet me in the middle on that with a physical camp and understanding that when we go, we got to go. We got to maximize both on the field and then what takes place in the meeting rooms after that. And the guys have been great leadership. The group that I meet with, consistently, they've been pushing some great messages. Kirk talked to the team. We've had some really unique things that are helping us grow together closely very, very quickly.
You mentioned the leadership curve. Who has stepped into that when you lose guys like Aaron Kendricks, Adam Thielen, some of the veteran mainstays?
Yeah, we will. We'll eventually, Ben, we'll vote for captains. When we cut down the roster to the 53 in our practice squad, it's probably too many names to mention. There's some guys that are here for the first time this year. There's some guys that are, in their second or third year, elevating maybe into some new roles. Having seen the example of some of the players that you mentioned and some of the guys that we got, very lucky and fortunate to, still have, former captains from last year. That have really just picked up where they left off and are bringing a lot of guys along with them. And as I tell all of our guys, part of, the 1% every day that I'm asking them to just get better and better and compound those gains, you get an opportunity, maybe not verbally, but, by example, to show not only us as coaches, but your teammates what you're capable of as far as a daily process to get better and understand the big picture, but also have a laser focus on just having a really good practice today, a really good walkthrough, a really good lift, meetings, and then see how many times you can stack that together.
As far as a typical rookie quarterback goes, where does Jaron Hall kind of need have the most room to grow?
Yeah, I thought he's had a nice start to camp. I mean, you guys have probably noticed some throws, different throw variations. What I've really challenged him to do, and maybe from personal experience, is I want him just totally submerged in the X's and O's and really trying to learn at a fast pace. He's clearly put in a lot of work over the summer. Just simple things, formations, calling plays, being able to run the show with the group he's in there with. But then, I constantly try to give him reminders of once that ball's snapped, man, just play ball and do what you've always done. See it, throw it, and we'll evaluate it from there based upon the process you got to making the decisions you do. But when that ball leaves your hands, do it with conviction. And try to be accurate in a way to give guys chances to make plays on the football, but also hopefully we're doing our part in allowing him to progress in rhythm and do a lot of things we ask our quarterbacks to do. Off to a good start.
With Nick gone for the day, was that a good experience for Hall, or is that a lot to force feed a kid who's still trying to get the calls down?
Yeah,
sure.
It can be both, and it was. And I felt like I told him, we didn't hold back on some calls. We might have. I might have called it gave him a couple extra versions of it. With Kirk, sometimes I tend to give it once and talk really fast, and somehow he understands what I'm saying and calls the play, and we go run it. I'll try to get in preseason mode for myself as much as anything, give him the call a couple times. If I know it's a little bit of a lengthy call for him, or if there's a coaching point I want to give him, I have that benefit. Right now, and we're kind of working through different periods too where we have a play clock. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and eventually as we work towards next Thursday night, we want to make sure that we can go out there and execute in a timely manner. But it's definitely both at the same time, and Monday was that for him.
The book closed on. What are your thoughts overall on the corners with the book going down, just in general, that position, what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think they're off to a really good start of understanding how we're asking them to play, and really the mindset, snap in and snap out, can really change. Whether it's a certain look where they know they may be on an island, or they're reading their keys as far as the quarterback's drop, or whatever it may be. Then there's other looks where it's all about getting their hands on receivers and throwing off the disruption, or putting in a disruption to our passing game that doesn't allow us to have a rhythm. But then you're also working in combination with people, depending on where you are in the field, communication. Those guys have handled a lot of that really well, and what I keep challenging that group to do now is consistency. Can we really find guys that can handle everything about our defense in this competition phase, and make sure that the best part about these joint practices is right around the time they get comfortable, knowing what we do, knowing how we operate. We'll have two straight weeks, 2 practices each week of 100% different philosophies, calls, and there won't be a lot of game planning for that. We're going to ask our guys to go out and execute our systems versus different looks and different personnel, and do it in a controlled environment, which allows us to get a lot of work for our ones, both of those weeks and our twos. So,
what do you expect from the guys tonight? A night practice. What changes the atmosphere? Crowd's closer. What do you expect? What do you want them to take out of this evening session?
I think it's, we do it, I told our guys we do it as much for them as we do our fans. Number one, the environment for our fans, letting them in that intimate setting see our football team in the night setting. Love, all the despite it being a night practice, there's going to be tons and tons of kids watching their favorite players up close and personal there. We do some different things post-practice to make sure we can make it the best possible experience for our fans, but it's also for us and for our players. They've been kind of grinding it out. I think they don't mind the 7 o'clock start compared to what time you guys are making me talk to you right now. So I think they enjoy that. And then just under the lights in a setting or in front of fans in a setting like that. There's a reason why we're doing 2 of them. Obviously, I enjoyed it last year. I wanted to try to get 2 on the schedule. Tonight will be the main event as far as practice goes, but we'll have another one next week just to make sure not only we can get our guys in that environment, but also get them practicing at the time or close to, however we can, that they'll play next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.